Questions you should be able to answer by the end of this video. Number 1, what is a chemical formula? Number 2, how do you know how many different elements are in a chemical formula? Number 3, what is a subscript? And number 4, how do you count atoms in a chemical formula? This is an element, and this is an elemental symbol. Do you know how I know? Because it's on the periodic table of elements. Elements are represented by one capital letter, or one capital letter and one lowercase letter. If you ever need to verify if something is an element, this is the place to go. Compounds are substances made of 2 or more different elements that are chemically combined in a set ratio. Remember reactivity? This is the result. When atoms don't have a full outer shell, they react with one another and form a bond. This bond makes them a compound. For example, let's look at sodium and chlorine. Sodium has 1 valence electron, and chlorine has 7. So they bond so that each one has a full outer shell. Once they have reacted with each other, they're happy and won't try to react with us. A chemical formula is used to show the ratio of elements in a compound. The elements in a chemical formula are identified with the element symbol. To count how many different elements are in a formula, all you have to do is count the different symbols. If you ever get confused, have your trusty periodic table near you and double check that the symbol matches. Here are a few examples to practice with. NaCl, or sodium chloride, has 2 different elements in it, sodium and chlorine. Hydroxide has 2 elements in it too, 1 oxygen and 1 hydrogen. And sodium hydroxide has 3 elements in it, 1 sodium, 1 oxygen, and 1 hydrogen. Just count the capital letters. Now that we've practiced counting the different elements in a chemical formula, it's time to count how many atoms are in a chemical formula. If more than 1 atom of an element is in the compound, it is shown with a subscript. The subscript is the small number you sometimes see in a chemical formula, and it only applies to the element directly in front of it. If you see subscripts, you need to follow this motto: when in doubt, write it out. Think about water, H2O. This particular formula means there are 2 hydrogen atoms bonded with 1 oxygen atom. This combination gives you 3 total atoms. When you see a subscript, write out how many atoms of that element are there, like this. Then add the next element, like this. Then all you have to do is add them up to get the total number of atoms in this formula. You also have the totals for each element. For this one, it's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. Okay, let's try to count a few more atoms in different chemical formulas so you can get the hang of it. How about aluminum oxide, Al2O3? Let's write it out. First things first, let's find our elements. Look for the symbols that match the symbols from the periodic table. I have an Al, which is aluminum, and an O, which is oxygen. Now I look for the subscripts. Since there is a 2 for aluminum, I will write Al plus Al. And there is a 3 for the oxygen, so I will write O plus O plus O. Then I just add up my totals. This formula has 2 aluminums, 3 oxygens, with a total of 5 atoms. You tried this one. Count the atoms in glucose. C6H12O6. Find your elements first, and then use those subscripts to count how many of each element you have. Do your totals match mine? 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens with a total of 24 atoms? Now let's go one step further and count atoms in a formula with parentheses. These parentheses act just like they do in math. This formula is called magnesium nitrate. Remember your motto, when in doubt, write it out. Notice the to subscript after the parentheses. This means that you are going to write out whatever is in the parentheses that many times. Since it's a to, we will write it out 2 times, like this. Be careful to only apply it to whatever is inside the parentheses. Now that we've taken care of the parentheses, we can write it out the way we learned earlier in the video. Pause the video and see if you can do it. Do your numbers match mine? Try this one completely on your own. Pause here. Did you get it right? We will definitely practice more, and I'm here if you have any questions. That's all for today, folks. See you tomorrow.